It's Bourbon Blog Live. Happy Friday, friends, and I hope you're already enjoying a pour of something really good. I know I am. I'm having some Breckenridge bourbon here with my good friend, founder of Breckenridge Distillery. It's Bryan Nolt joining us live from Colorado. How's it going, Bryan?
Good, man. How you doing, Tom?
I'm doing well, and I'm already enjoying some Breckenridge bourbon here. Do you have any poured there?
Well, I've been waiting because sometimes you should force yourself to wait. But I have a super special one that I wanted to drink tonight. So we do a lot of reserve blends or single barrels for people.
Right.
This is one that gets a little dusty at times. This was a reserve blend we did for my favorite liquor store in the world called Big Bear.
Wow.
And they're down in Pueblo, Colorado. And I like them because they are the most friendly people I have ever met. They've been huge supporters since the early days, and they have a knack for picking incredible blends and barrels. So this was a single barrel that we did for them. And like 10 years ago. And so there's only like that much left. So in honor of those guys.
Wow, what a nice thing. And that's one of your favorite liquor stores, or your favorite in the world.
So, yeah, they're the best, man.
Wow. Well, cheers. We'll raise a toast. You got a single barrel there. I'm excited to hear about it. And I have a bottle of the bourbon, and a toast and a cheers to everybody who's watching and enjoying this, and all our friends in Breckenridge. How's everybody doing in Breckenridge?
Going a little crazy, man. A little crazy. Right. At this point, we need some clarity on what's going to happen. The trick, Breckenridge is our population is like only a couple thousand people, but on any given day, there's 100,000 or more people in town because, we're a tourist town. And so the locals are freaking out that everyone's going to import all this coronavirus. So they're trying to figure out, how to reopen and invite people in, but not get mobbed and, then have a huge outbreak. So
right.
They're still trying to figure that out, but they need to figure it out, finally, and tell us when everything's going to reopen. So what are the next steps? What are you all looking at now? Well, so, we are essential business as a whiskey maker and an animal feed co-product provider, so production's been going. But we have a retail operation, 2 tasting rooms in Breckenridge, David Burke restaurant and a bar, and that stuff's been closed. So we can't do tastings or tours. So all that revenue's gone. All the restaurant, we're open for carry out and take out, but and delivery, but it's super minimal because, we're a tiny town. So
right.
The revenue from that's been just almost nothing, but, we wanted to keep everyone employed. And we do family meal for breakfast and lunch for anybody that wants to work. So anybody that wants to work, they show up and we find something for them to do. We haven't laid anybody off or furloughed anybody. We have 125 employees total. So what we need to know when restaurant can reopen and what the capacity will be, and when tasting rooms can reopen, and when we can do tours with social distancing and all that stuff. And so been doing that. And in the meantime, we brought a new barrel warehouse online in Breckenridge, which is cool. So we bought that thing over a year ago and got it up to fire code and remodeled it. It's 8,000 square foot barrel house, and we have just been chucking that thing full of barrels because we're always bursting at the gills.
Now, is the new barrel house right next to the distillery or close by, or
right across the street?
Right across the street. So
yeah, right next to, for people that know Breck, it's right by Broken Compass. So we're here, and then Broken Compass Brewery's there, and it's just across the street from that. So it's walking distance.
Excellent. And we'll also
distance.
No, and I've been so fortunate to be out there a number of times with you all. It's been maybe a year and a half or 2 since I've been there, but I am looking forward, once things get a little better, to getting back and seeing you, Bryan, and all the great team there in Breckenridge. And for everyone watching, if you've tried Breckenridge bourbon at whatever you're having, list down below. Tell us what you're drinking tonight, and if you have any questions for Bryan about the Breckenridge Distillery products or just Breckenridge in general, ask them down below. Like this, share this. We're joining you a little bit earlier tonight than we usually do. We want to make sure we bring in a lot of great folks for it to feel like a party. and thank you all for watching us every night. We've been doing this. Bryan, we had you on. I'm trying to remember. We've been doing it every night for about 55 days. We had you on about a month ago. Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So since then, I know you all were making hand sanitizer. You were. Are you still doing that? What's the latest and greatest on that?
Yeah. Oh my God. We've just been giving away hand sanitizer, and we've given away over $20,000 worth of it. The issue that we have is, I can't get any bottles for it because like everything is wiped out, and
Right.
I just had several hundred of the little squeeze bottles that were supposed to show up on Friday, and we still haven't, or on Tuesday. I mean, we can't find them, so. Getting bottles has been really hard, and the way the FDA wants you to make it now, they want you to make it from 194 proof spirit. So no, I mean, craft distilleries don't make 194 proof spirit, so it has to come off of a big industrial still. So you've got to go out and buy it somewhere and bring it in, and then blend it up to their specifications. So it's been a huge pain in the butt, but we spent about $20K, gave it all away. And I just asked people for donations that came in, and we raised about $3,000, I think, and just donations. We gave that last week to USBG, and then the rest of it, really, where we didn't get any money at all for it, just went to police, fire, bank, grocery store, routes. Town planning, all construction sites, all that stuff, and we've just been wiped out, dude. It's been a trip, that's for sure.
That's great that you were able to help out USBG and so many people that needed the hand sanitizer. Already getting some great feedback. Derek, watching us on YouTube, says love the Breck bourbon. It was actually the first bourbon he ever tried, and he's sipping on some right now. He also is a big fan of your vodkas. And so we have a lot of fans of the Breckenridge bourbon, and you all have really grown the brand in some incredible ways with so many fun releases, everything from the port, the sherry cask. You've just done a recent one-off with the Madeira, right?
Yeah, so we it was about 2 years ago. We had access to some really fantastic Madeira barrels, and so we bought the whole allocation of them. And so this stuff sat in the barrels for a year and a half, maybe something like that. And when it was interesting because when we sort of got it to where the peak was, it was best at 105 proof, and it was really good. But then we left it in cask, and then it really got a little drier, and so we brought the proof down, and so it's better at like 92 to 96. So we actually just we did a huge run of it and just bottled a ton of it. And Hans, just our head distiller, got an incredible palate. He got just some different ages and stuff, so we laid some down in different times, and man, he just got it dialed in, and it turned out way better than I thought it was going to. Wow. How the tastings were going over time. So I thought we were just going to do a one-off of this and release it, allocate it, and sell it in Breckenridge and give it to some liquor stores across the country. But it's so good. It turned out so good that we just we have more Madeira barrels coming. So I think we're going to put it out. I like it better than the PX or the finish.
The port and the PX. So then we're gonna, with the additional Madeira barrels, you're gonna have even more than you originally thought. Then.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was just gonna be we do a lot of we'll do a lot of something, but once it's gone, it's gone.
Right.
And that's what I thought was gonna happen on this one, but it's too good, so we're gonna keep making it. So we'll get these first couple of batches out. They're available in Breckenridge now, and then they'll probably be available in some liquor stores across the U.S. Towards the end of summer, because distributors aren't really taking on new SKUs right now, but we have accounts that are begging for it, so we'll get it through to them, and then we'll just keep it on allocation across the country for maybe 8 or 9 months, and then we should have quite a bit more available.
That's great. So be watching for the Madeira cask finish. All of your cask finishes have always just been so delicious. Is there something about what you do, the way you do it, that, and I'm sure there is, that makes it so special? Because they've all always turned out to me as some of the best cask finishes in the business.
Yep. We have a huge portfolio of products. So, we go everything from vodkas to brandies and liqueurs, all the whiskeys. We do absinthe, aquavit, rum. I mean, so we have a huge portfolio. And the reason that we do that is because of sort of where, first, we love it, but second, it's where people are at right now. I was just having a conversation a couple of days ago. We were talking about how when I was a kid, I grew up, in the 70s, and my dad drank VO. That was it. He drank VO, Canadian VO. That was it.
Right.
So like my parents' generation, baby boomers, that's what they did. And now with Gen X and millennials, people are more interested in branching out, trying different things, but you hate taking a gamble on something and finding out it sucks, right?
Right.
So what we do is we promise you quality, like above everything else, and that's always been what I've done. So it's always about quality first. I don't want to make something like the hardest way possible, and I don't have to craft some ridiculous marketing story about how I smuggled my grandma's weed out of Eastern Europe, and grew. It's like, no.
I want to hear that story.
I didn't do that. I don't need some bullshit story, is what I'm saying. It's because it's all about the quality. So it's got to look right. The package got to look right. The nose has got to be right. It's got to hit your tongue right. The mouthfeel has to be perfect. The flavor has to be perfect. The age has to be perfect, and the finish has to be long. So it's all about, for us, mouthfeel, taste, long finish, no matter what we do. Even so creamy in the mouthfeel.
Yeah.
So with the barrel finish, it's about integrating flavors that we know are going to work, spending sometimes years to get them right. The rum cask took us, 6 or 7 years to get it dialed in just right. Which we're getting ready to release the rum cask finish here this summer. So it's always about, there's a reason. Like, I know these flavors go together, and then trial and error to get it perfect. Like, I know I can't make it any better. That's when you get it. So that's why all the barrel finishes are that way. There's something different on every one. Something we're going for on every single one. Right. They've each got a role and a point on your palate that we're trying to hit.
Right. They are all so unique and all so special, and like I said, some of the best in the business, and everything from your standard bourbon release, which is incredible, to the finishes. And as I see, Lich says he's drinking some of the 105 high proof. The high proof is so good for
it is
by itself, but it always goes. You made it really for a lot of it for the bartenders to mix with, right?
Yeah. So they. I don't really think of American whiskey consumers, so much as being, wanting super high proof bourbons. I think Scotch drinkers are more into that. But, we found over time that the bartenders have always been interested in slightly higher proof whiskeys. They like them higher proof, and they love, doing an old fashioned or even a Manhattan at a higher proof. Right. And so when we taste every single barrel, and we always just taste it at cask strength, right? So we get used to it at the high proofs. And, over time, we sort of forgot that maybe there was interest in it. And the bartenders were like, who would come in and visit, and we would taste off of the casks. They'd be like, oh, my God, you got to put out a high proof. And so we did, and we found 105 was the sweet spot. And, what's amazing is you wouldn't think that at 105 proof, the whiskey would drink easier than it does at 86. But hands down, it drinks way better at 86. Yeah, it's the viscosity and the mouthfeel changes on it, and it really concentrates the flavor, and man, the finish just goes forever at 105. It's It's my like. I don't even want to drink 86 proof anymore because I love it. It's one of my favorites for sure.
It is incredible. It's something that with the warmth it has, though it's higher proof, it doesn't taste quite like that. It's higher proof. It's just enough more strength for something special for a sip or for a cocktail. Is there a favorite cocktail you like to make it with it yourself?
Ooh, I mean, I usually when I'm doing bourbon cocktail, I'll go usually one of two ways. Go-to is an old fashioned. It's just, it's hard to beat. And the other would be, some kind of smash. So simple syrup or honey and citrus, usually lemon. And then, with the smash, some other fruit. Classically, it'd be like orange, but I like doing like berries or cherries or just, muddle them up. And that's pretty good.
It's definitely some good stuff. So many good cocktails. And I know you all, just like we have, we've been doing this online program, and we're so glad to have so many of you all that are Breckenridge fans and just bourbon fans watching. Usually we are doing this at 8 p.m. Eastern time, but no matter what, definitely bookmark wherever you're watching it, or bookmark bourbonblog.com/live, usually 8 p.m., but just bookmark that. Follow us on social. Make sure you watch what we're doing every single night. We're continuing to do it every single night, probably for a little while longer. And you all have been doing some great virtual tastings throughout the week. I've been seeing you and Billy, just everybody doing some great cocktails. The virtual tours, right?
Yeah, we've been doing a ton of stuff. Hats off to Jesse from marketing who does all the heavy lifting on that.
Thank you,
but
Jesse.
Yeah, we do every Tuesday evening, we do a virtual tasting. So Hans, our head distiller, and I will taste through 2 products, and we'll sort of chat it up, talk about the products and shenanigans and history of the distillery and why we do what we do and all that stuff. Those have been a lot of fun, and tons of people involved on those. We also do a weekly cocktail seminar. So Billy Keithley, our liquid chef, she's absolutely amazing. She'll make a couple cocktails. And then we've been doing virtual tours. So Aaron from who runs our retail will take people around, show them do like a live, run around, show them different stuff going on in the distillery. Those have all been cool too. I think they're going to probably do one and show off the new barrel house here in a week or two.
Oh, wow.
So that'd be cool for people to see. It's huge.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see that. We've tuned into some of these, and for those of you watching, just tune in, watch for Breckenridge Distillery at Breck Distillery or what is it on Facebook? At Breckenridge or at Breck Distillery? Is that the right place?
Yeah.
Watch what they're doing every week with these live videos. They're a lot of fun, and the cocktails there's always a new idea for a cocktail. I love the new ideas. Billy's always
amazing.
They're so good.
Amazing, man. Best bartender I ever met. She's like
she does an amazing job. She really does.
As crazy as I am. So, she's not afraid of anything. She'll try anything. I was just talking to her earlier this week, and I said, "Hey, what about an orange whip? Except instead of cream, because I don't think I need that in my life. Like, what about like coconut water or something?" So anyway, she's just as crazy as I am. So
it's awesome.
Orange whip, orange whip, orange whip.
So you got an orange whip one coming, huh?
I don't know.
That's great. And so now you were mentioning earlier, I think, we should also mention the rum cask. You mentioned the rum cask. That's going to be a permanent release from Breckenridge.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's like everyone's so excited. Like I said, we do a ton of products and a lot of releases. So we try a lot of things, and my staff, some of them have been around for a long time. We've been in business for 13 years now.
Wow.
And, they get excited about new releases, but there's never been the excitement like there is around the rum cask finish because, like I said, we've been working on dialing it in for several years, and it is so freaking good that we're afraid no one is going to want to drink any other whiskey on the planet, including our other whiskey. So we're just afraid that after that, that's it. And all we're going to be doing is making rum cask finish bourbon. Can't call it bourbon.
What kind of rum do you tell? What kind of rum cask they are? Where you get them from?
Yeah, no, it's us. It's our Colorado rum. Yeah.
Okay, it's your Colorado rum. So it's only your rum. You've been using which is, by the way, I do have some of them, some of the rum, some of the spiced rum right here. You use your rum cask, you put the bourbon in it, but really it was a process of perfecting it over the course of several years. Tell us what that was like, what you were really looking for.
Yeah. So the rum that we sell in retail is a spiced rum. So that's the only one we sell in retail, but we make other rum, for our bar, because at our bar, anything you get that's a spirit we have to make. But years ago, Jordan and I, we were probably drinking like Captain Morgan or something, and we're like, hey, you know what? We should make like a authentic spiced rum. So, we did a ton of research and went into the history of spiced rum and found out how it really used to be made. No fake flavors, no fake vanilla, fake cola, tons of sugar. No, we wanted to do it the right way. And so we did. And, it's one of our favorite things to drink. So after we make the rum, you have to barrel age it, and then we do the macerations to get the flavors out. So the macerations are, fruit peels, roots, barks, spices, dried flowers, all that kind of stuff. And you do it in stages. And as we were macerating and just drinking a bourbon or something, we were like, hey, wait a minute. Oh man, that's we got to get that and that. So it took forever to sort of figure out the perfect combination of what we wanted to make in the rum that we wanted to make, just to get the barrel to age the bourbon in. Right. So that's why it was such a pain in the ass. And then you gotta let it age. I mean, you gotta let the rum age, right? So you don't get out of there until it's had, 12 months at least in the barrel to get into the barrel, and then you put the whiskey in, and you pull all that back out. I mean, dude, it's just so good.
The spiced rum is so nice, and I can't wait to try the barrel, the bourbon finished in rum cask. About how long do you finish it for?
It's about a year process.
About a year.
And then, but we will blend, like everything we do, it's not just boom and that's what you get. Right. We're blenders too. We make a ton of booze, but we love to blend. And so when you're blending or vatting, it's all different ages. So,
right.
And even in our regular blended bourbons, there's stuff we say it's aged at least 3 years, but there's nothing like 3 years in there.
Right. Yeah.
In there that's 10, 11 years old. And there's some that's a bunch that's 6 to 8 years old. And sometimes there's a little bit that's closer to 4 years old, depending on how the blend is coming together. So it's variable ages to just, because it's perfect.
Right. Of course. I just poured a little of the spiced rum as we were talking about the spiced rum. I wanted to make sure I had a little of that in my mouth, and always has been I think it's such an exciting rum that comes from the USA. I mean, you all were among some of the first to release a U.S. rum that just really, just really impressed me, and just so cool what you've done with this. It's such great stuff. Is there? It's obviously very cocktail-esque by itself. Lots of depth. Is there a favorite cocktail that you, Billy, make with the spiced rum that you love?
Anything tiki, man.
Anything tiki. Just put this in.
Yeah, anything tiki. It's the bomb for sure. Yeah. Take your rum tiki drink of choice. Do a spiced rum. I mean, it's, you can't do a Mai Tai or a Pina Colada or a classic daiquiri anymore without it. It's got to be in there for me.
That's the one you reach for. Spiced rum from Breckenridge. It's incredible stuff. I see Jessie. Thanks, Jessie, for posting. She just posted some of the virtual events on Facebook. If you're watching on other channels, go to the Facebook. She posted those, all the different Zoom ways to tune in. Copy, paste those. Tune in Tuesday 4 Mountain Time, and then May 27th, 5:30 Mountain Time, Thursday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Go join those, because those are a lot of fun. We've been a part of a couple of those watching, and it's always an exciting time. Now, you were mentioning earlier, Bryan, that as you're getting a new product out right now, whether it's you or other brands, there are some distributors that are just not wanting new SKUs right now, new extensions. Yep. Tell me about what that's looking like for, craft distilleries, or really any distillery dealing with that kind of thing right now.
Yeah, I think so. for like a lot of really small craft distilleries, which is probably the majority, they rely really heavily on their tasting rooms for revenue and customers. And then if they have a following, lots of times it's a group of like on-premise accounts, so a lot of bars. So the little distilleries have been really hurting. We're much bigger. We're 150,000 cases this year, I think, so or so. And so we're a pretty large SKU in a lot of our distributors' portfolios. We found that what the distributors are doing right now is they're all focusing on like their top 100 SKUs or top 200 SKUs. So if you fall out of it, and these guys have Beam Suntory, Brown Foreman, Diageo, Pernod Ricard, right? That's the majority. Craft is we're 2.5% of the spirits business. So the majority of people's SKUs aren't getting any love right now. We've been lucky that in the bigger markets, in our top 10 markets, we're doing great. I mean, we're up. And then in the other markets where we're smaller, we're not selling anything. But pretty much universally, the distributors are like, they've furloughed all of their on-premise salespeople, so they're down to management and their retail folks, and they want to figure out what the lay of the land is before they try to launch anything new. So what we see is no new SKUs really coming out unless there's special order kind of things before August. And honestly, I mean, for a lot of things, it may not be till next year. I think for us, the rum cask will get out this summer, and then in the fall is when we are gonna launch the Dark Arts extensions. So the malt whiskeys blended with Scotch, and those are like my very favorite things because I'm a Scotch guy. I mean, I love bourbon and rye and everything, but Scotch is my fave. So.
Yes, I enjoy some good Scotch myself. This is the series you told us last time called Two Clans. That's going to be a blend of your single malts plus some Scotch whiskeys from just sort of all over, several different distilleries in Scotland.
Yep. That one took forever and ever, and we had to wait for the Dark Arts to reach a certain level of maturity. So bourbon ages pretty quickly. You can put out a good bourbon in 3 or 4 years, depending on how you do it. But malt whiskey, the young angular oak, is in there until 8 to 10 years. It takes that long for it to make the transformation, to complete the circle. And so we had to be really patient with that. But yeah, the Two Clans is a blend of a variety of Scotches, and the Dark Arts, which is like the Ferrari monster truck of malt whiskeys. So it's an enormous whiskey from Breckenridge. And then the peated version will be released right after that. And we were originally blending with, Islay peated Scotches.
Wow.
And that was sort of the plan. But over the years, we've been laying down our own peated malt whiskey. So we get the barley from Scotland. It's been peated over there. And it's turned out to be so freaking good that it's actually better if we don't use the Islay peated whiskeys. If we use the Breckenridge peated whiskey, it's even better. So I think the peated version, I'm probably just gonna drink all the peated Scotch I bought in bulk and just start using the Breckenridge peat instead. It's so good. It's just so good.
So you're saying you like it with your all's peated versus the blend? You just think it has much more of that peaty flavor? Yeah,
I like our peated version better than the peated version from Islay
That's incredible. And I think that this category of we've been seeing more and more distilleries doing, and of course you all being one of the the first, you've been putting down single malts years ago to really get them to the right age. But what do you think for this category? What do you hope that Two Clans, this release, will do for the category of American single malt, and do you think it'll inspire other blends like this?
I do. I actually do. I think it's going to be one of the most important brands out there in terms of pioneering this movement. I think we started with the Dark Arts, and it was a very new style of malt whiskey. So it's very, you know, all specialty malts. So very chocolatey and malt forward, you know, treating the malt library like American microbrewers use the malt libraries, which was, you know, diverged from the way it was when I was a kid and people drank either, you know, Michelob or Bud or Coors, or, you know, that was it. It was Pilsner lager. And, you know, now it's all specialty malts and hops. So 12, 13 years ago, you know, we started making our version of a malt whiskey. So our version of a Scotch, but rather than having like the peat be in your face, we put the malt, the specialty dark malts in your face.
Right.
This huge chocolate bomb, and pretty much everybody followed. And so most of the American single malts are kind of that style. And, you know, they're wicked good. The high quality ones are, but, you know, they're huge. And so you aren't going to drink those in volume. You know, it might be like, and even like me with the dark arts, like a nip or two a week, you know, I'm good. It's not like I'm going to sit down and have 3 of them, right? But with some of the lighter whiskeys, you might, you know, and so I think it's important that when you make a product like that, if you want to grow it and, you know, and get volume, it's got to be more approachable. And so this is like bringing together a lot of subtle flavors, super interesting, delicious whiskeys. And so, you know, as a Scotch blend, and the quality of it, and, you know, being a Scotch guy, you know, I can taste something and tell you at the price point it should be at. I mean, this thing, we could sell it for $200, you know, a bottle, and we would sell a lot of it. But I want it to be more than that, and I want people to be able to get it. And I know this is what people are dying for, you know, when they come and they have something to drink or a cocktail, and they're kind of missing something. And I'm like, I know what you want, man. You want that. So we're gonna put it at a crazy price point. Like I'm talking like 50, like between 50 and $60.
Wow.
And there's like, it's going to turn, I think the Scotch drinkers are going to just say, this is better than my $200 bottle of Scotch. That's my special treat. Like I could just have this whenever I want. And so that's my prediction on that one. I think it's going to be a game changer. And I think that that's one of the products that's going to swing consumers into being like, okay, I like American single malt, or, you know, or American Scotch style blends, or whatever, you know.
Right. And I think that's really incredible how it will bring over some crowd that are Scotch drinkers. It'll introduce the market to something new. The flavors from both Scotland and from your distillery, they're going to come together to do something that not just a Scotch could do.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because if you're, I mean, again, I love Scotch.
Right.
Love it. But when you're making Scotch, you're very handicapped with what you can do.
Right.
Because to simplify it down, you treat the barley one of 2 ways, right? So you either peat the bejeez out of it and turn into a very medicinal, iodine-y, Islay style peated Scotch, or you don't. And if you don't, then it gets a little bit of peat and it gets some heat, and then you kiln it over anthracite so that it dries and roasts. But you don't burn it, you don't caramelize it. So the Scottish are very ritualistic in how they treat the barley. Like that's it. You do not burn the sugars. So with American beer malt libraries, it's all about burning the sugars. So you can have 50 different versions of levels of, you know, of burn or caramelization. And that gives you more flavor, but you sacrifice ethanol yield because you're burning the sugars to get flavor. Those sugars will never become ethanol. So it's, you know, it's tricky. And with the dark arts, we've pushed it as far as we can. So you've got this super luscious chocolate bomb that's just a malty monster, unlike anything else. So when you have that as one of your blending components that you can blend with, you know, lots of different single malt or or really delicate styles of Scotch. I mean, wow, man, it's a huge game changer. And really that was really what inspired me from the very beginning, was to be able to, to make the malt whiskeys. It just took this long. I mean, because, the earliest stuff we laid down is just now ready.
Wow.
Like,
And the oldest stuff you have is about 12, 13 years old.
Yeah. I mean, you can't release. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to drink malt whiskey younger than 10 years.
Right.
And I'm a super sniffer, super taster, so I taste the young oak, and once I taste it, I'm just like, nope, I don't want that.
I can't wait. Can't wait to try it. Two Clans will be out. We'll look towards the fall.
Yeah.
Madeira out now or very soon?
Madeira's, you can get Madeira in Breckenridge right now.
Breckenridge.
We're loading up some liquor stores that were special requests for this. So I think Benny's in Chicago is getting it.
Right.
And then there's a couple whiskey clubs in California that are getting it. And I think that might be it.
Excellent. And then the rum will look more towards the fall for?
Yeah, man, the rum's ready. We're bottling it, I think, in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And again, that one will be available in Breckenridge, and then that's a big launch, so it'll all happen in lockstep when the distributors are ready. So they're good to go, but they aren't going to put any new SKUs out, I think, probably till August or September. And they know that
so many great new releases. The rum, the Madeira.
Everything's coming together right now. We also have a double barrel that's going into Georgia right now. That was a special request for, again, some whiskey clubs that sort of, there's these circles where you get like a whiskey club and some on-premise accounts and some liquor stores that kind of run in a herd, and that they make special requests. So it's going to get the double barrel. So we take a fully aged, matured Breckenridge bourbon, and then we put it in a new barrel. And then you got to wait for that to grow up. It is a huge pain in the ass, but it's a huge whiskey. Oh my God, it's a big whiskey. But it just we bottled that one last week, and that's going out, I think, like next week. Really nice.
That'll be just Georgia then.
Just Georgia for that one, yeah. Yeah,
So,
I think that's
that's quite a few. So many great new ones that everyone can watch for, and we'll of course bring you updates on all of them on Bourbonblog.com, and certainly have Bryan back on more to taste with us. And also, I guess, I think it'd be helpful as you were talking about how this is affecting smaller distilleries, craft distilleries.
Yeah.
What advice would you have if, we have a lot of industry folks watching, craft distillers? Obviously you all have done exceptionally well over the years, and we've been really thrilled at Bourbon Blog to follow you from the very beginning of your growth. What would you advise, suggestions, ideas for craft distilleries, even maybe, small bars? Going forward, what do you think everyone needs to do?
Yeah, man, I think two separate issues there. The bar one first. Like we don't see any light at the end of the tunnel for bars. For bars, it's really just going to be about cocktails for a while, and then nobody knows how they're going to reopen. I think that the amount of hysteria going on right now is going to give us a lag period where bars are really going to be hurt. And, to people and to the bartenders out there and the bar owners, I just, man, I sympathize with you, running a bar of our own. We've just been getting killed, and there's no end in sight. And all you can do is do your best, treat your people right, and, make the best decisions for your business and your people, and hang in there. And it's almost like you got to shut down your bar and then reopen a bar at some point. It's that bad. For the small distilleries, again, it's, I think most small distillers are pretty good at running lean and getting through difficult situations. So that toughens you up. I think small distillery and craft distillery people are pretty tough. They've been toughened up over the years. We're all used to competing against the giant multinational titans of the spirits industry, and they don't play fair, and they have, you know, marketing budgets of $500 million for a couple of SKUs. And so we're used to duking it out with them. And so I have confidence that the distillers are going to be okay. I think, you know, some of the ones that were already running into cash trouble are just, you know, going to have to really take advantage of what's out there, like from the government, PPP and small business loans and stuff like that, and just hang on. But, you know, when you do come back, obviously, I think you find partners that are going to help you, and you can help them, people helping people. So, you know, it'll be getting back together with those bars and being innovative with your tasting rooms. And the thing that I've always thought was super important for a little distillery was to have a super cocktail focused program of some sort. Right. So already work with a bartender or bartenders and, you know, pay them and have them consult for you and or employ them directly and get them out doing staff trainings and stuff like that. I think that's going to be key. So if you were a little tiny, I would say pick, you know, your 20 favorite pet accounts on premise and be ready for when they reopen. And for retail, you know, as soon as you can go in and start doing tastings, do tastings and book as many slots as you can, get your ass in there.
Right.
People on it, have them get to know you, and do it a bottle at a time, man. And that's it. So nothing I'm sure they don't already know.
Well, I think it's good to be reminded of those things, and also good for consumers to hear, to be aware of what's coming, and like you said, the wars between craft and bigger distilleries. I would think that maybe craft distilleries they're already working so well together, finding ways for it to grow with different organizations, but probably that bond between craft distillers, especially within a state like Colorado, other states, finding ways to help each other will probably grow even more, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, totally. I mean, when you've gone through tough times or been collectively had the shit beaten out of you, you know, together, I think you sort of grow together. So I would think that you'll see even more unity with craft distillers. I think for, you know, lots of times you get busy with what you're doing, and especially if you're just winning, you know, you're just out there working. We've all had to sort of take a step back as things have slowed down and look inward. And we've also tried to figure out what's going on, what the regulations are going to be. So we've had the opportunity to talk to each other even more, you know, and have the guilds and things like that do more. So I think that, you know, there's been a lot more dialogue with the smaller distilleries, and a lot of camaraderie, you know, making hand sanitizer.
Right.
And so I think overall, I think the industry the people in it have gotten to know each other better, rely on each other more. So that just helps. And really, it's you know, I've always felt this way about small distilleries and other small distilleries. I've never looked at them like as a competitor necessarily. I've looked at them more as just someone on my team, like, because we're all in the same boat. You know, like I said, even as big as craft is now, we're only a couple % of total spirits. So wow. The guy down the street is not my enemy. Like, I don't need to fight him for shelf space or cocktails or, you know, consumers, because we're so small even together that it doesn't matter. We're really fighting a giant, well-oiled machine that is merciless and wants to beat you religiously. And that's what they do. I mean, they just pummel you with people, dollars, all their resources, marketing. And, you know, you can't beat that head to head. So right. You've got to be really innovative on how you do it. And you have to win person by person, bottle by bottle. And, you know, I think the small distilleries will realize that even more after this. So.
No, I agree with you. I understand part of your, as a craft distiller that's grown, and you really understand craft distilling, and but for others that are watching, consumers say, oh, you know, I see craft spirits on the shelves and I see big guys on the shelf. What are the biggest what are specifically the biggest challenges there are in that battle that maybe consumers don't understand?
Oh man, I mean, really, it comes down to dollars,
Right.
So it's not like you just you make something and you have a distributor that really wants to sell your product and then spends a lot of time talking to the liquor store owner or the bar to get it in there.
Right.
Works. So 98% of this industry is giant companies, and so they do large distributor alignments. So Young's, RNDC, Southern, Breakthrough.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they come at them with a giant multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar portfolio, and they say, okay, you get our brands, and it's going to be in these states, and this is how much you're going to sell. And if you don't sell that much, then you're either writing us a check back, or we're pulling your brand and moving to your competitor.
Wow.
And so the distributors have to focus on who's buttering their bread, because they're employing thousands and thousands of people, and they have an obligation to their business and to the people that work for them. They have to run a smart business, so they absolutely have to cater to the giant companies. And then you throw on top of that, so the distributor goes in there, and then the giant company goes, okay, well, hey, I want an end cap in there, and the liquor store says that's cool. It's it's whatever. This is the arrangement to get it. It's different state by state. In some cases, it's free goods. Other cases, it's a price reduction. Other cases, it's incentives for the salespeople. So that all works. And anyway, their toolbox is enormous. And so that's why they're 97, 98% of the business. The rest of us, we're just going in with a quality product that took a lot of time to make, and the overhead's high and the margin's low, and it's a better product. But we don't have the marketing and the hammers to push it through. So we've got to somehow convince a distributor or a salesperson on that distributor that it's worth their time and energy to go sell it, even though they're not making extra money on it. And then have them and you or whoever talk to the liquor stores or bars and convince them to bring it in and take a chance on it and even taste it. And hey, man, normally they're pretty busy, so they don't. I don't want to taste it in their hands. Right. Last 10 I had sucked. I don't want to try your product. I don't need another vodka. It's all that stuff. So man, it's challenging. That part's challenging, and that's why most of the distilleries, little distilleries, they do great as a destination or in their tasting room where people come in and they sell the product, take full margin, or find some good partners out there, especially like on premise in the bars or a couple good liquor stores, and that's sort of where their business kind of gets stuck. To make that leap where you're in the arena with these giants, that are just pummeling you. I mean, that's a really hard leap to make. So to get from a brand that's selling 10 cases to a brand that's selling, a couple 100,000 cases, that's just it's damn near impossible. And we got there for a variety of reasons. One of which was that we got an early start. We developed a following, and so now if I was starting fresh, my business model would not be the same, because I would know that there's no chance in hell that I'm going to get there unless I'm prepared to spend mega cash to push the same buttons that the big guys are pushing.
Right.
So it's tough.
Right. No, you have so many good points there, and I think that obviously you all have always been a hardworking, amazing team with great products, and getting a region. I think so many distilleries we've seen that have gotten a region like Colorado, like Breckenridge behind them, grown it, and like you said, become a destination, grow it. I think so many have grown that way, but it would be tougher to start a craft distillery right now, wouldn't it?
It would be. I mean, if I was starting now, well, actually, the reason I started was it was going to be like a hobby distillery. So it wouldn't be any different from the start. And
right.
Actually, if I was starting now, it would probably be more like I had intended it to be, because this just came out of my passion for whiskey. That was
right.
it. I already had a career, already made my money, I was already doing what I was doing. I'm a doctor, and I didn't need another project. So for me, this was just because I loved whiskey so much, and I wanted to make it, and and had the epiphany in Breckenridge while I was fly fishing, standing in the water, and I was like, oh man, I need to see if I can make this work. So for me, it was just going to be a little hobby where I employed like 3 people part time, a couple barrels of whiskey a week.
Right.
It was, for me, it was very romantic. But the problem for us was that we were just super successful and people couldn't get enough. And so we just blew up. And so, well, when that happens, what are you going to do? And for us, we went for it, but if I was starting now, that wouldn't be my goal. I mean, because, I started this because I love whiskey, and now, 125 employees, 150,000 cases of booze.
Wow.
What my days are like as a CEO. Like, I don't get to just swirl a glass and, go have, I do a little bit, but the majority of what I'm doing is talking to, attorney, risk management, dealing with insurance, HR issues when you got 125 employees, trying to innovate and keep my shareholders and original investors happy. And, so it's dealing with spreadsheets and, all that stuff. And that's not why I started. But what are you going to do?
Bryan, you've done such a great job, you and the team there. And it's so much fun to have you back on here to talk on Bourbonblog.com live here. And I think, as we wind things down here, and again, thanks to everyone who's watching still. If you have any questions, ask them down below, tweet back to us, retweet the video. Just glad to have all these great folks watching. Are there laws, rules, openings of restrictions that have come out of, in Colorado specifically, or anywhere that you know of, from the time during COVID that you hope will stay on the books, be helpful as you and other distilleries move forward? Or what are your thoughts?
No.
There's nothing that they've allowed you to do that you think will be helpful even moving forward.
It's been 99% pure misery.
Okay.
The only thing that people are getting to do now is to-go cocktails.
To-go cocktails, right.
Yeah, that's kind of it.
Yep.
And I, long term, I think that is great for bars until they're completely back open, and for distilleries that can make the cocktails.
Right.
Stuff. I think, for their business, that's great. Is it better? Is it good for America as a whole to have to-go cocktails flying around everywhere out there? I don't know. If people are responsible, I'm a libertarian. So for me, I would say you should trust people.
Right.
And that's how I feel about it. But I definitely see the argument from people that are worried about that happening. And we talk about a lot, especially being a doctor, about alcohol and the industry and whiskey in particular. And the thing I've learned as a doctor is that people absolutely must have their diversions, and different people need different levels of them. And I think for me, whiskey is a great one, and for a lot of people, I think alcohol is, a great diversion, but for a lot of people, it's also not, and anything beyond moderation is horrible. And, there are lots of things that are in that category. Right. So, whether long-term, I don't know what people are going to do, but what I suspect is going to happen is it'll be state by state. I think some states will allow to-go cocktails to keep trucking, and others won't. But I also think it's a good time for states. They should actually just take time out and look at what's going on in their economies and how they treat different businesses, or subsections of them. And this would be a great time for them to sort of even things up a little bit and treat people a little more fairly, because I don't think any state really treats spirits, beer, and wine the same. But why wouldn't you? It's all booze. Right. So the rules should kind of apply. And, it's crazy that, for instance, Colorado, breweries, you can make tons of beer distributed all over. You can have brew pubs, and you can sell beer, wine, and spirits, whether you made it or not, doesn't matter. But if you're a distillery, you guys, you can distribute, but if you distribute more than 50 cases or whatever, then you can't have a bar that serves beer or wine or anybody else's spirits. So, I mean, it's crazy to me. I think there should be opportunities for like collectives to get together, like we do a ton of business in our bar. It's a destination. People come to our bar, David Burke Restaurant. It's super awesome.
Yeah, it's so good.
But, I mean, why can't I serve Colorado wine, or why can't I serve other Colorado spirits, and make some cool cocktails? Like, I don't make a blackberry liqueur. Why can't I, have another Colorado distillery that does, and make, I mean, it'd just be cool. And then they could do the same thing. And, some parity would be nice. And, I don't know whether to go cocktails will stay or go, but it would be nice if craft distilleries were treated with parity compared to, the rest of the industry.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with to-go cocktails. Laws on, I mean, I know they vary so much. Laws on shipping. Think any of those will change much? Or?
No, I don't. This hasn't really changed that at all. We still can't. Again, we can't ship our product directly to customers. Period. Well, okay. Well, wineries can.
Wineries can, right?
And then there's the interstate shipping laws where states run differently, and I think states should be allowed to make their own decisions on stuff like that. But I think it would be smart for them to look at it and see the opportunity there. In the end, people will just get access to more better products, and it would help the smaller businesses. So, why wouldn't you do that? And the answer as to why you wouldn't do that is because you're being told by someone's giant lobby group not to do that. So the giant companies and the giant industry people, it's all the lobbyists, wine and dine the politicians and give them money for re-election, and that's how our laws end up to be the way they are. I think it would just it'd be nice to say, okay, some of that's fine, but also, we're going to look out for small business this way, and craft distilleries are small business.
Right. Well, I do think it's so important, and I think so many of our viewers that enjoy good whiskey and good spirits really do enjoy not only Breckenridge bourbon, and we've had so many great comments from them, and we're glad you all support Breckenridge, but also they enjoy craft distilleries. And I would echo what Brian's saying, continue to support, especially right now, but always, but definitely right now, continue to buy those craft spirits, support them, and obviously, encourage lawmakers to help small businesses and small craft distilleries to ensure that you guys can continue to do what you do.
Amen, brother.
Yes, thank you so much, Brian. We'll definitely have you back on some more on our nightly series as you get some new releases out there. Thank you always for your insight. Always great having a sip with you, my friend, and really looking forward to seeing you and Litch and the whole gang. Jesse, thanks so much to Jesse for all her help tonight too, and everyone. And be sure you visit BreckenridgeDistillery.com. You can find all their social media. We're going to keep this video up permanently wherever you're watching it. But if you also just want to listen to our podcast channel, we're going to put the podcast from tonight up on our podcast, which is down below their anchor.fm /Bourbonblog. And join us every night at 8 p.m., around 8 p.m. Eastern on bourbonblog.com /live. Hey, I think this is so funny. The last time I had you on, I was doing Drew Estates the next night. Tomorrow night, I'm going to have my buddy Matty Rock from Drew Estates on, having some cigars with me. We'll probably even put some of your whiskey with it. Oh, and maybe he has something here.
Funny you should mention that, because that's what's in my future tonight.
You got some Drew Estate there. Which one is it? Oh, it's the Kentucky Fire.
Yeah, Kentucky Fire Cure. The KFC.
I love it. I love that one. I have some just right over there. So what are you going to pair that with?
Always the PX cask finish.
It's so good with the PX.
Yeah, man. That's the cigar crusher right there. It's magic.
It's such a beautiful one. In fact, when we featured your all's whiskey, I think it was a couple of years ago in Vegas at IPCPR, that was, I think, one of the best pairings we had with the Davidoff cigars was your PX cask. So it was so nice. So, well, thanks everybody, Derek and Irene, Randall, Litch, Dewey, everybody who just tuned in, and Heather, everybody watching who's commented, and Brian, great to see you. You guys stay well, and thanks for all you're doing for the industry, and stay strong. And we'll see you all hopefully soon in the new year or very soon.
Cheers, Tom.
Cheers, Bryan. Thank you so much, buddy.